Shortly after midnight, the Indian River County Sheriff's Office was notified by a concerned wife from the state of Nebraska to do a welfare check on her husband, who lives in the south end of Indian River County. Approximately 12:15 a.m. our deputies responded to do that welfare check, responded in about 4 minutes. And when they responded, they met this gentleman at the door, and this gentleman's name is Timothy Gochenour. Timothy Gochenour. And as they did a cursory interview with Mr. Gochenour, they noticed some kind of nervousness and some anxiety, if you will, and they inquired a little bit more about Mr. Gray. Mr. Gochenour initially said that Mr. Gray was at a local bar, which the deputies did a fantastic job by discerning that there was something a little more to it. And at that point, the deputies asked if they could come in and check on Mr. Gray, at which time Mr. Gochenour made a spontaneous statement that said, well, if you come in, you might as well arrest me. So upon that information, the deputies entered the home. They discovered Mr. Gray's body on a on a bed with a blanket around him, at which point they retreated and detained Mr. Gochenour until they could obtain the proper search warrant, which ultimately led to the discovery of Mr. Gray's body. The interesting thing about this particular case is the manner that we believe is how Mr. Gochenour died, and that would be a milkshake type cocktail laced with prescription pills that we presumed were crunched up and placed into this milkshake. It appears that Mr. Gochenour had been living for several months with Mr. Gray under some type of arrangements. We know that because Mr. Gochenour is a sexual offender and had registered with the Indian River County Sheriff's Office and had been following and abiding by all state standards and state statutes, which included reporting to the Indian River County Sheriff's Office with his location and the like. We also know that Mr. Gochenour is a felon, a convicted felon, to include some pretty egregious charges, which you'll be privileged to getting those charges. Upon interviewing Mr. Gochenour, he described a dispute that had been going on with Mr. Gray and his wife, although she living out of state, as earlier mentioned, and this escalated to some type of disagreement. We believe the disagreement was over the living arrangements and some personal issues. Upon serving the search warrant and further interviewing of Mr. Gochenour, he described what his plans were for the future, which included stealing Mr. Gray's firearms and some other items and hiding them in a wooded area behind the Gray house. Mr. Gochenour is currently in our custody with related firearms charges. As you know, he's a convicted felon. He currently has 2 counts of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Also, we expect, since he is a felon and he is on probation, that his probation will be violated. There will be no bond for Mr. Gochenour as he is a felon on probation. As we continue the investigation with autopsy results from Mr. Gray and other information that we're gathering, we expect a murder charge to come out of this case. If in fact it is a second-degree murder charge, that is 25 years to life for Mr. Gochenour. So again, what makes this unusual is the milkshake formula that Mr. Gochenour apparently had developed, which he has told us that he developed that to purposely give to Mr. Gray. This is the 2nd homicide in Indian River County. It's an isolated incident, obviously, surrounding a domestic issue over rent and over personality differences. Any questions?
Do you know how he convinced Mr. Gray to drink this milkshake? They were in an argument and he just said, hey, here's this milkshake, drink it.
Well, we don't know if that was a trend. We do know that that they'd been roommates for quite a while, so maybe there was some type of trust relationship.
Do you know how long his wife had been living in Nebraska?
We know that about 36 hours since last contact she had with Mr. Gray is why, which is not infrequent that we have loved ones will call to do welfare checks on their spouses or anyone else.
How did he end up living there?
That we don't know. We do know that Gochenour did abide by all the rules by telling us where he was living. We don't know how they became friends and how he began renting a room from Mr. Gray.
Did Gochenour say anything about what he planned to do with the guns he was going to steal?
No, not yet.
Did he tell you the quantity of the type of pill or the type of pills he used for this milkshake?
I don't believe he told us the quantity.
I don't think we know the quantity or
Did
the
he say
exact
how
time.
he decided to use that method?
No, he did not. But we do know that in a statement, he did very straightforward say that he killed Mr. Gray.
Almost like he was sort of proud of the way he did it, or?
But we're not certain about that, but we do know that Mr. Gochenour is familiar with interviews, interrogation, as his criminal history past reflects.
For the marital status of the Grays, are they separated or was she simply
We don't know. We do know that she is in Nebraska, state of Nebraska. We do know that our victims assistant team has been in communication with her. Anytime we deal with, obviously, an unexpected or unintended death, those procedures are in place.
Any idea if the body was moved, or did it seem like Mr. Gray might have gone to sleep after taking this cocktail?
That's still under investigation. Our crime scene team actually responded last night, and to my knowledge is still there throughout today. There's some speculation of what Mr. Gochenour's plan was afterwards.
What main?
Speculate for us?
I'm sorry. Sorry, John.
Just some evidence at the scene indicates that there may have been some other plans,
For what?
To dispose of the body?
possibly.
Possibly
So
what?
you got there before he could get rid of the body? and
Correct.
Take off?
Correct.
Awesome.
Did he own a car?
I'm not certain if he owned the car. You know, that's the thing about our response time is so important, and less than 4 minutes responding after the phone call from Nebraska from the wife. And you know, the interesting thing is we check on our predators and our offenders on a regular basis. In fact, our predators and offenders checkups, if you will, led us to some very important information that Mr. Gochenour only wanted to speak to one of the deputies that routinely checked on him and his sexual offender status. And that led us to a few more details that we're thankful that we have.
In the press release, it said Mr. Gray's wife expressed concerns about this roommate. Can you, I guess, say exactly what those concerns were? Were there any prior incidents that you know of?
To the best of my knowledge, it was over rent that was not paid.
What led her to believe, though, that, you know, even though she hadn't spoken with him for 36 hours, what led her to think that there was something more serious going on?
Well, I think it may have been more of an established relationship where there may have been some feuding in the past, and which probably raised Mrs. Gray's suspicion that in fact there was some type of turbulence.
Is he a gang member?
Not that we know of.
Why is he covered in tattoos that say F you?
Well, yeah, anytime, not anytime, but oftentimes when members of society are incarcerated for lengthy periods of times, oftentimes there's tattoos associated with that.
Was any sort of cup recovered where the milkshake was contained in? Was that recovered?
Yes, there was. That's being processed as we speak.
Was there any investigation of the dwelling, the house next door? I believe it's been empty for a while. Neighbors said they saw some activity over there.
I'm not certain on that.
Was all the milkshake gone, or was there some still left in the cup?
I don't know about that.
Some neighbors told us that they've heard fighting at that house in the past. Has the sheriff's office been called there, you know, at all, any time recently for just domestic dispute type things?
Yeah, we keep track of every call for service at every specific resident. That'll be included in the investigation as well.
What were, I mean, the sexual assault of a minor,
Yes,
that's pretty serious.
that is, and that is why Mr. Gochenour was incarcerated previously, and that's why he is registered with us as an offender.
Any indication what he did for a living, since I guess there was some, referring to Mr. Gochenour, since I guess someone expected him to pay rent, but was there any indication?
No indication of where he was employed.
Something to be said for who you allow to live in your home?
Obviously, whether you have some type of lease agreement or some type of contract, always be cautious. We do know that with Mr. Gochenour registering with us, that we knew where he was. It's not for law enforcement to say who you can include as a roommate or who you can exclude as a roommate. But again, what makes this case interesting is the whole milkshake cocktail, if you will. And again, this is only the second homicide in Indian River County, unincorporated area. And we're proud of that. We're proud of the men and women of the Sheriff's Office that work hard every day. We're proud of that relationship that Deputy Howe had established with Mr. Gochenour. Otherwise, the result could be different, as well as the detectives that responded in such a quick fashion. In fact, the young man that responded to the scene initially had only been on what we call solo patrol for just a few weeks, and that makes us all proud.
The checks that have been done on Mr. Gochenour, could the sheriff's office even, can you foresee that he was going to be violent and murder someone with a milkshake?
No, we have over 150 sexual predators and sexual offenders that we routinely check on, and that is why we check on them, obviously, to make sure their whereabouts.
How frequent are those checks? Are those monthly, bi-weekly?
No, they're not monthly or bi-weekly. By statute, we're required to check on them twice a year. Twice a year. By statute, the offenders are to be checked on twice a year, and the sexual predators are to be checked on 4 times a year.
Yeah, but now you had an extra detail just with the Halloween that we just had, you had checked on too, sir.
Right.
And he had never been violent or?
Not to our knowledge, no.
Any idea why he was taking medication, Timothy, that is?
No indication of that.
Any idea how long he'd been registered for that particular address?
We know on August 13th, we confirmed that he was there, and I believe more recently as well. So we can get those dates for you. All right. Thank you very much.